Hey Magic fans, and welcome to the Let's Talk Magic podcast game day preview. We are talking today about the Orlando Magic versus the Toronto Raptors. And despite the Raptors' recent form, a road game in Toronto is never an easy prospect. We are looking at game day number 67 for the Orlando Magic, where our venue is the Scotiabank Arena in Toronto. Tip time here in the UK is 11:30 p.m, which is 7:30 in both Orlando and in Toronto. We always tell you this, but to watch live or on demand in the UK, you are going to need an active NBA League Pass subscription. First of all, we're going to talk about the Orlando Magic. Our season record is standing at 38-28. We won our last game and are 7-3 in the last 10 played. The road record is a little below 500 at 16 wins and 19 losses. We're standing 5th in the Eastern Conference. Points per game, we are scoring 110.7, conceding 109.3. Both figures are slightly improved after our previous performance, but we rate 24th on offence and 4th on the defensive end. Last time out, the Magic led the entire way, taking a home court 106-114 win over the Brooklyn Nets. That being said, a 38-point second quarter by Brooklyn had quite a few Magic fans fearful that we were going to see a repeat of that Pacers comeback scenario from our previous game. Thankfully, the Magic responded in that third quarter, building a strong lead that ultimately saw us able to keep Brooklyn at arm's length the rest of the way. All 5 starters for the Magic scored in double figures. Paolo Banchero, he finished with 21 points and he made every shot from the field in what was a well-balanced performance because he also dropped in a good number of assists. Wendell Carter Jr., he recorded 15 points and 8 rebounds. Jalen Suggs, Franz Wagner, both had 14 points and Gary Harris 13. That was this starting unit. From the bench, Jonathan Isaac, he led the bench with 11 points and was followed up by Markelle Fultz with 10. We've already covered what that starting unit was. From the bench, we saw Jonathan Isaac, Markelle Fultz, Cole Anthony, Joe Ingles and Mo Wagner. At the very death, the last 90 seconds I think it was, we saw Anthony Black, Goga Bitadze, Chuma Okeke, Caleb Houston and Admiral Schofield come on when the game was absolutely won. Jet Howard, Kevon Harris and Trevelyan Queen were all inactive for the Magic. So as to tonight, let's talk about the Magic injuries. We have none. Barring any late issues, expect that Coach Mosley will run with that same starting unit. Once again, Jet Howard, Kevon Harris and Trevelyan Queen are all listed as inactive, being on the G League assignment. Let's look at the Raptors. They are having their struggles this season. 23-43 record. They have lost their last 5 games and are standing at 3-7 in the last 10 played. That sees them 12th in the East. They are scoring a decent amount of points, 114.1. Unfortunately for them, they are also conceding at a fair old clip, 118.2 per game. That sees their offensive rating at 21st and defensively they are rated at 23rd. Their home record hasn't been as strong as you would perhaps expect it to be. They are 13-19 this season. Toronto do take a lot of shots. They take the 8th most field goal attempts in the NBA. They focus heavily on volume shooting from inside the arc. They get good numbers of assists and they do well on offensive rebounds, which somewhat surprisingly doesn't actually translate to them scoring second chance points. They lead the league in fast break points and are 4th in points in the paint scored. They can be very dangerous on the offensive end. Defensive statistics are, however, in the bottom third in most categories of the league, outside of free throws faced. They are a very low fouling team. They are susceptible to conceding from second chance points and they also rank badly for concession of points in the paint. We haven't played the Raptors for quite a while and this team looked very different from that team that we met earlier in the season. They went in and made quite a few trades. They are also in the midst of an injury crisis to a lot of recognised faces, some of their leaders, including Scotty Barnes. I'm going to just mention Scotty Barnes because up to this point he had been putting together a nice season. 19.9 points per game, 8.2 rebounds, 6.1 assists, 1.5 blocks, 1.3 steals. His indefinite absence is a real blow to Toronto. Further double-digit scoring from this team has seen RJ Barrett at 20.8, Emmanuel Quickly 18.2, Gary Trent Jr. 12.3, Kelly Olynyk 11.9, and Jakob Poeltl 11.1 points per game. All those names, I'm mentioning pretty much most of them in a moment when we come to their injury issues. So last time out for Toronto, March the 13th, they went into Detroit, played the Pistons and left beaten 104-113. Toronto had held the lead at the halfway point, but were outscored 47-61 by the Pistons in that second half. Emmanuel Quickly, he led the Raptors with 25 points and 8 assists. Kelly Olynyk, he followed up with 19 points and 8 assists. Bruce Brown registered 17 points and 5 assists. Their starting five, you'll notice a lot of names missing here. Emmanuel Quickly, Grady Dick, Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk played centre, and O'Shea Ubaji, I think that's how you pronounce it, Ubaji, were the starting five. From the bench, Jordan Nwora, Jalen McDaniels, Jonte Porter and Yarmius Ramsey were the players used. They only used 4 players from the bench. As to tonight, let's talk about their injury issues. Scotty Barnes out with hand injury indefinitely. Jakob Poeltl out with a finger injury indefinitely. Important as we also play the Raptors on Sunday. Chris Boucher, he is out with a knee injury. DJ Carton, he is out confirmed with an ankle injury. Very, very tragically, RJ Barrett will be out following the sad and untimely passing of his younger brother. Genuinely, sports rivalries, our thoughts and prayers do go out to RJ Barrett and his family at what is clearly a very difficult time. We're with you, man. Also, as to tonight, potential big loss for them, day-to-day and questionable with the groin injuries, Gary Trent Jr. So somewhat of a problem for head coach Darko Rajakovic. He is likely to go with that same starting five as against Detroit if Gary Trent Jr. is a scratch. Gary Trent Jr. had started 24 games straight for the Raptors since January the 17th. Looking at the head-to-head with Toronto, 100 regular season games played and the score stands at 43-57 to the Raptors. One meeting this season, which came November the 21st, which was game day 14 for the Magic. And at home, Orlando produced what was a stunning performance to beat the Raptors. It was part of our in-season tournament. We won 107-126. We led continuously from inside the first 2 minutes of play, and we led by as many as 27 points. Jalen Suggs really did set the tone on both ends of the court for the Magic. Paolo Banchero was the team leader with 25 points. Dennis Schroeder, who is now no longer with Toronto but in Brooklyn, he was their team leader with 24 points. Last season, it was split 2-2. Both teams won home court games, but recent history is very, very much with Toronto. It's season 2011-12 since Orlando won the series, and in that period, the Raptors have had winning streaks of 5 games, 9 games, and 11 games. This is the final meeting of the season. Comes back in Orlando on Sunday evening. Final thought, Toronto are not officially eliminated from the postseason, but they are adrift of the play-in 10th seed berth by 6 wins. The Raptors will, however, play with pride and they won't meekly roll over. They are not that kind of team. Their fan base demands more than that. So for Orlando, defence remains the key to an Orlando performance. The Magic have on 18 occasions this season held opponents to under 100 points. winning 16 of those games. A statistic to look for going into the final quarter, when the Magic have led at that point of the game this season, we hold a 31-1 record. The Magic at home, I know this is a road game, but bear with me. The Magic at home are 13-0 this season against teams that are presently sitting at the sub 500 mark. As I say, whilst tonight is a road game, Toronto are a sub 500 category and come to the Kia Centre on Sunday. Half of Orlando's remaining home games are against teams below 500 at this moment in time. Coming to the road, at times this season it's been dramatic with the Magic. 35 road games played, 15 decided by a margin of 5 points or less, and 11 of those by 3 points or less. If you throw in the Mexico City game, that's another one on each of those in the statistic in the loss column. It's interesting. So as we said in our last preview, for the Magic, every game at this point is important. The Knicks are sitting in the 4th seed position, 39-27 record. The Heat in 8th with a 35-30 record, just 4 wins separating 5 seeding positions. Tonight, besides ourselves playing, the Heat are playing in Detroit, so it's another important game. If you've enjoyed this preview, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, share it, comment, share it with your friends. We do appreciate anything that you do that supports us. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. But more importantly, let's go Magic, let's get that W. We want this playoff position.